Hello, everyone. I'm Eric D'Souza, and welcome to another episode of Crime Writers of Canada's podcast, where we discuss all things crime fiction from coast to coast. We are continuing our journey of interviewing members of Crime Writers of Canada that have been long or shortlisted for the Awards of Excellence. Today, joining me is Peter Holloway. Hi, Peter. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Eric?
I'm good too, thank you. Peter has been nominated, or his book has been nominated, The Roaring Game Murders, has been nominated for Best Crime First Novel, sponsored by Melanie Campbell, with a prize of $1,000. A little bit about Peter. He is married with two children and lived in Tsawwassen and Ladner for over 30 years. He has cycled the dikes and backroads around Boundary Bay and Fraser River, where the Roaring Games takes place, as well as many other paths between. An avid curler, he leads the learn to curl sessions for adults to introduce them to the roaring game. He has also coached juniors from recreational after-school classes to competitive leagues and bonspiels, and has organized the Latino Curling Day for local farm workers in the last 3 years. Peter has a BA in English and History from Trent University, is a member of Crime Writers of Canada, the Delta Literary Arts Society, BC Federation of Writers, and Word Vancouver. After a successful career as a senior manager, he retired in 2019, and for the last 2.5 years he has returned to writing. He is currently working on the second installment of the Boundary Detectives series and plans to publish in 2025. Now, Peter, this is kind of a silly question considering we just read your bio and what we learned from you. But what inspired you to write a crime novel centered around curling?
Well, when I decided that I wanted to give it a go, I tried writing when I was young and just decided that I wasn't going to be able to make a living at it. But when I had time, you think about the things that you really like. So I love the area that we live in, and I like curling and the things around here. And the more I thought of it, I've enjoyed murder mysteries and detective novels for a long time. I always knew that's what I wanted to write, a genre type thing. So it seemed natural. I mean, if you're going to write, you should write about the things you care about, things you know about. And I thought I could share some of that. And doing a little research, I could not find anybody else that's written a murder mystery with curling. So it's a unique product.
I interviewed Bill Deverell yesterday, and you and I were both at when he got his Derek Murdoch Award. But one of the
Yeah.
questions I asked him, and it wasn't one of my scripted questions, but I just assumed that he grew up reading The Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew. And his answer actually was hell no. So I'm going to try again with you. What are the authors that you grew up on, and who are you reading now?
Well, I hadn't I hadn't thought back that far, but yes, I did read the Hardy Boys when I was younger. I'm reading a bunch of things. I think the influential authors for me, were the I'd say the classic ones. Dashiell Hammett, Raymond Chandler, especially Ross MacDonald. I love Ross MacDonald, and actually, I just finished a long biography of his, and yeah, I found him a very interesting writer, trying to bring the detective novel kind of to another level, and interesting things there. I've been reading all sorts of finishing A.J. Devlin, fan of Sam
Weeb.
uh, Weep, yes, and I've been reading a few of his more local things, I guess, and that yeah.
Yeah, a lot of good local boys. Good for you. I often recommend those two myself. Well, let's go with location. Um, as I mentioned, you're a longtime resident of South Delta in British Columbia, which is near the U.S. border. The city of Boundary is fictional, but you've said you've used or borrowed many of the elements of Ladner and Tsawwassen in your book. So, what could you tell us about Boundary, and what sort of unique problems does it have being so close to the border?
Yeah, well, it's an interesting community, and because I like cycling and stuff, it gives a great backdrop. The dikes around here, you have the ocean, the river running through it. Um, it's wedged between Vancouver and the U.S. border, so that brings in lots of opportunities for a mystery writer to have crime and things that are going across the border, as well as yeah, I just wanted to show off the area. You know, a lot of people in Vancouver know where the Tsawwassen ferry terminal is because they drive by here. But I thought it'd be interesting to show off some of the area around here, and certainly the local people that have read my book often give me great comments about the descriptions of the local dikes or the different things that are here, and people enjoy recognizing something from their life. But I like to it's like to educate people too. An interesting area.
Yeah, a very interesting area. From the sounds of it, I think fairly flat too. If you bike a lot.
I bike a lot, and I live on the only hill in that. So my wife has an electric bike. I still ride an old-fashioned bike. So the last part of the ride is pretty much always up the hill, but keeps me in shape.
Well, like yourself, I'm a self-published author, and when the awards come out, I sort of always go through the list and want to give kudos to fellow self-published authors. One thing that some people or readers may assume is that we're doing it ourselves, and it's often not true. We often have what I call a team, people who help us with things like cover art, editing, proofreading, even feedback. Um, I read your acknowledgments, so I know the answer to this question, but maybe you should give kudos to your team.
Yeah, I was very fortunate to go through on the cover art and illustration. My brother-in-law is a two-time Pastel Artist of the Year of Canada. Twice he won that, and he did the illustration. And my sister was involved in the graphic arts industry, so she did the cover and back cover design and we'll go for the business and stuff. And they were just super enthusiastic to help me out. Had a number of people read it and give me feedback. Certainly, my wife read it from an early day, and a few other people. When I got a little bit more serious and thought it might even be publishable, I got a friend of mine who's a retired Vancouver police detective to go through it and point out a few things and give me some feedback from that perspective. Yeah, so you're right. It's and a lot of early, people that read early versions that gave me some great feedback there.
Yeah, I think your police friend did a great job, because I can tell you that I've always been scared of police procedurals because you have to get the details right, and it's so important to get the details right. Or just like people who live near you are going to call you out if you make a mistake, so are police and people who know better if you make a mistake. I thought you did a
You
great
gave
job.
me one great one.
Yes.
Sorry.
No.
You gave me one great one that I'll share that showed how silly and innocent I was going into it. But it was about handcuffs and handcuff keys. And it's a very small thing in the plot, but I had a thing about finding the right handcuff key. And he laughed at me and he told me that there's only one key for all the handcuffs that are issued. Because otherwise it would be way too complicated. And when you think about it, that's obvious. But yeah, small thing, but it was quite funny. And then he gave me a handcuff key.
That was awfully nice of him. Did he help you with your character
Yeah.
development? Because both Tate and Claire seem pretty well flushed out characters. Is that yours, your hard work, or is that a little bit of help too? And you might as well tell us
No,
about them too.
I'll yeah, no, I'll definitely take credit for that. Yeah, I think when I again conceived writing the book, I didn't want to make it kind of a cozy mystery, and I'm some old guy that looks like me is solving something in his spare time. I wanted it to be more modern, definitely modern, and and I went back and forth on characters, but I think Tate Bowman is the male detective. He had worked as a detective in Vancouver and then had taken a desk job for a few years. And he has this opportunity to go to Boundary and help with the case. He has some information that some purpose to it as well as that, but he's excited to get back in the field. And Claire Kozak is late 20s, young woman who's just been got named a detective constable. So she's just barely started in the detective thing. So I thought it was I'm hoping it's going to be a series. that they both have lots of growth ahead of them, and no, you can come up with them. Then as you're writing, they kind of develop along their own lines. It is like they have a bit of a life of their own. So, yeah.
And it's also always hard to come up, I guess, with an original death. And you got a pretty original
Yeah.
one with somebody passing out or dying on a while curling. And I don't even think Murdoch Mysteries has ever done that yet. And I had to look up curling. I was like, is Murdoch Mysteries older than curling or is curling older? And I was very surprised to find out like 1600s is the earliest evidence of
Yeah.
curling. But where did you come up with your death? And maybe just tell it without telling us too much. Tell us a little bit about
Yep.
the crime scene.
Well, I've been curling for a long time, so there's little things that go up. So when I was thinking about writing it, for a murder mystery, you need a good little plot thing to go. So I gave a lot of thought, and it had to be something that you could kind of explain to non-curlers, but also that avid curlers would kind of, people that curled a lot would kind of understand how you did it. So it is a bit complicated. I did spend a long time before I wrote the first word. I had that figured out.
And the poor guy just died while curling, right?
Yeah.
Or at least they find his
Well,
body that way, right? Don't say too
well, he
much,
was
but
murdered.
yes.
He was murdered. The first part of it is the curler's death is kind of like a locked room mystery. You kind of know it has to be one of the other 7 people that were there, but they don't all have motives. It looks like none of them have motives. But anyway, it then evolves into more of a thriller, and there's a whole other plot that takes over that's much more action oriented.
Oh, I haven't reached that part yet.
Oh yeah, that's
Well,
yeah.
you said you're already working on the second book?
Yes, I've been working hard on it, and yeah, they'll have the 2 characters continuing, and again set here in Boundary, which is basically what we call South Delta. The communities of Ladner and Tsawwassen together are South Delta, and I did that because I didn't really want to have like the police chief of Delta be, I mean, so it's nicer to have the official people part of a fictional city, but the real
Mhm.
places here are interesting.
Excellent. Well, I'll let you get back to work. Congratulations on being nominated. It's I always tell people uh, Louise Penny won this award. So it could be the start of
Oh,
something
that's good
great.
stuff. Yeah. No, I appreciate it, and the Crime Writers of Canada does a great job in promoting crime writers of all different types, and beginning writers like me, and even Louise Penny's up for another award this year. So yeah, we really appreciate that, and that was a great event last week for Bill Devereux. Yeah, enjoyed that.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Peter.
Thank you.